Live from Penn State's campus, this is Nittany Talk. I'm Jordan Spagnoli, and in today's episode, our political panel will analyze age and term limits. We'll recap on some of the hottest movies from the summer, talk all you need to know about celebrity couples, and settle a long-standing chicken debate. You don't want to miss this. So, let's get to talking. Welcome back to Nittany Talk. We're going to send it over to our politics panel to talk about age and term limits in the United States government.
Thanks, Jordan. I'm joined here by Jay Sobardo, Francie Ebert, Ryan Lawi, and Yaya One. Age limits have been a topic of debate surrounding President Biden and older government officials. Term limits have also been a recent discussion after controversial Supreme Court rulings. Diving into age limits, Ryan, I want to start with you. Do you think that they are necessary?
Well, first of all, Olivia, thank you. And in my honest opinion, I really don't think we're asking the right question. I mean, obviously, I think it would be a good idea to have people younger representing us. However, currently right now, I think it would almost be impossible to see that happen. Our president is currently 80 years old. Not only that, our Senate Minority Leader, also very old as well, freezing. California Senator Dianne Feinstein, 90 years old. She's been serving since 92 when she took the special seat. I just don't think it's going to be realistic considering all of our leaders are so old right now for them to all of a sudden decide, you know what, let's make sure the next generation is younger when they want to hold on to that power.
Right. I really think Congress kind of looks like a geriatric unit right now because there is some age differences, but honestly, most of them are older. The cover for the New Yorker, I don't know if you guys saw it. It was released today. It's the cover for the October 2nd edition. It has Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Nancy Pelosi, and Mitch McConnell on it. It's like characters of them in a race with walkers, and it says the race for office. So it's definitely a discussion that the nation's having. I think it's important, but I think we need to look at their mental state as well, because there's a lot of people who are older who are sharp as a tack and they could serve just fine, but there's other people who are not.
Yeah, you mentioned mental state. Now, what if there was a medical examination? Like, what if before you run, you have to pass these tests, and that can determine whether you can withhold that position? Now, we talk about things like that because I know, as I talked about this before, the media really can sometimes blow up instances that happen. But also just, do we think this is democratic? Is it democratic to have an age limit that prevents certain people that are over the age run for these positions?
Well, what I find interesting is that Vivek Ramaswamy, who's running to represent the Republican Party, actually has this idea and has been criticized for it, which is interesting. If it came from somebody else who more people would align with, I think that would maybe be a different topic, or I should say, different discussion.
Right.
I just am curious because in almost every other profession, the expectation is that people retire at 65. So what confuses me is just why is it different for people in office? Like, what is it about holding office that people can excuse older people running? Because as I've mentioned in a previous episode, I just feel like you lose that relatability as you get older and as generations get younger. Of course, in the U.S., the age is people are getting older as the younger population is kind of slowing down. But I still don't I don't really see myself represented in the people that are running for office. And age is a big factor in that because we have different priorities.
The average age in the Senate is 65. So that's the age of retirement.
Yeah, but I think that goes into the whole debate of the Constitution, right? I mean, the Constitution was written in 1789, and then all the retirement discussion for the average American job, 65 limit has been a discussion that has happened after the Constitution. So when we take a look at, the limits of politicians and whatnot, it really goes back to the discussion of the Constitution and how those things have not been changed. And that's why it's hard to change them, I think.
On the topic of the Senate, our founding fathers wanted that. It was almost a states' rights issue. They wanted it to be people who were more separated from the people, serving 6 years. I mean, when you're serving for 6 years, you're going to get 6 years older in that term, and you're going to want to hold that spot of power at least a few more times, run for re-election, which is very common. And although Senate's replacement rate doesn't necessarily equal replacement rate of House representatives, that doesn't change the fact that they still want that seat. They want to hold on to it. They worked very hard to get there, to get elected. They want to see their agenda pushed. They want to impact this country and be remembered.
And I think there's something to say about age and like wisdom, and you have a lot more experience than the younger people who were in there. But I think there's also a difference between being older and in Congress and being older and being the president, because we're going to talk about Biden's age, you have to talk about Trump's age because he's only 3 years younger than him. And I think it would be better to have a younger, and I don't mean like, what's the minimum
Maybe
age to run for president? Like
35?
35? Yeah.
I think you're referring to more in tune with the people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of the candidates now are kind of in that age range. So I'd like to see a bit of a younger president. But then, we have people in Congress like Dianne Feinstein, Mitch McConnell, and they're old as the hills, for lack of better terms. Like I think it's their time to like call it quits. And Mitt Romney even said that he won't seek re-election because he wants to see a new generation of leaders. And I think that was really good of him to say.
What I find interesting is if you look at the statistics, Dianne Feinstein, if I have my notes correct, and she's been serving since the late 60s in government. She represented the city and county of San Francisco as a councilwoman all the way back in 69, which is a long time ago. And she's still in government.
Yeah.
I mean, I also think it's important, and you mentioned that she's still in government, and you were talking about generational things. What's to say that someone who is old can't meet our generational need? Like, if I'm phrasing this correctly, someone who is older, I'm sure, is less likely to understand us, our demographic. But there's people out there that are older that can still understand what's going on in our, area. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But the reason why this is a topic of debate is because most
That's not
Americans
happening.
feel like
That's
these
not-
people in power
right.
that are very old don't understand and don't consider everybody, because there's a lot more young people than there are people their age at the moment.
Right.
So
And who's to say that the age, if there were to be an age limit, who's to say that the cutoff has to necessarily be at 65 like all other professions? Because as you said, it's different being a congressperson and the president, because as someone who is in Congress, depending on if you're in the Senate or if you're in the House, you might not have all the time, your first term, your first 2 terms, you might not be able to get everything that you wanted to get off your agenda. You might not be able to get it passed. So maybe allowing for more time and more experience and more wisdom, that could be beneficial. So when we talk about age limits, I feel like there's a lot to play with and there's a lot to experiment with. So I think it's a very interesting conversation.
And everyone ages differently, both like physically and mentally. But if Congress is supposed to be representative of the entire United States, I'd like to see more of that, both in age and demographics, everything like that.
Yeah, just a more diverse.
I think it goes back to the point of, well, you can be 80 years old, but you can be sharp as a nail still. So there should be maybe some mental tests that are done before these people get into office. Let's talk about term limits. So term limits is similar but different. So who wants to start on that one?
I'd like to start on that one actually, because I think it's very interesting with everything that's going on with the Supreme Court. And this is a topic that I think about a lot. And for me personally, I understand the reasoning behind having Supreme Court judges or just judges in general serving for life, because it's this idea that they have to be impartial and they can really withstand the test of time and bipartisanship and everything.
They're founded off tradition.
Exactly. But at the same time, it's kind of the same conversation with they might be a bit stuck in their own views from, when they were serving 20, 30, 40 years ago. And then we have the problem with, justices dying in office. So I'm curious to know what you guys think as well.
I think it comes down to how do we make that differential with these people like candidates and people in these positions? How can we determine someone who's old that can also be representative of us, but someone who's young that may actually not be representative of us, even though it's probably a higher chance that they will be?
Yeah, what's very interesting is the fact that every single person on the court thinks about it differently. Stephen Breyer said, "My time is up. I should step down." Others, like Scalia, bright line rule believers, "I can be here for life. I can be here in good behavior. As far as I know, I can stay." So everybody thinks about it differently. And they're almost, in a way, the ones who get to decide because they can strike anything past as unconstitutional. So it's really up to their beliefs. And I don't think they're just going to throw away their own power. History just does not say, "I'm going to throw away my own power" very often.
And the other thing with that is that, the Supreme Court is supposed to be apolitical. And so if people are staying in there longer because of whoever's in office, then that creates, a political climate within the court.
All right, well, that is unfortunately all the time we have for today. Thanks, guys, for a great discussion. And back to you, Jordan.
You have to be a certain age to run for office, so it would make sense for there to be a limit on how old you can be in office. It's important to keep those young people in office to represent our young voters. We'll be right back.
Speculative about the relationship until Taylor was at the Kansas City's Chiefs game on Monday night with his mom in the box.
Welcome back to Nittany Talk. Recently, there have been a lot of new celebrity couples. Some surprising, others expected. We want to know more, so we're sending it over to Audrey Keller for an in-depth look at today's hottest couples.
Thanks, Jordan. I'm joined here today by Kate Delmonico, Becca Cohen, and Gigi Fuentes. There's been a lot of new relationship drama pertaining to some of the world's favorite celebs, so we're going to try to break all down the recent news on celebrity couples. So guys, the first one that I want to talk about is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Yes.
So a lot of it has been speculative about the relationship until Taylor was at the Kansas City's Chiefs game on Monday night with his mom in the box. And then they left the stadium together. So what do you guys think about this couple? I know there's a lot of mixed opinions on them.
Well, for me, as a total Swiftie, I was actually shocked that she was there with Tyler. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Taylor Swift. But it was so cute. She was cheering him on, and I think it was just a great thing for her. She was smiling, she was giggling. It was perfect.
Well, Taylor is notorious for her relationships, which I feel like is so hard for her, being in the limelight so much. She gets so much hate and criticism on anything she does, even being at the game. People on Twitter were freaking out and even going after him, not just Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And another celebrity that I think has a really interesting dating history is Pete Davidson, who's dated some of, like, arguably the world's hottest women, like
Right.
Kim Kardashian, Ariana Grande. Like, so I think it's time that we start delving into why that might be. What
Yes.
about Pete Davidson? What about Timothée Chalamet? I think it's a really interesting take on the female gaze, but also the male perception of it.
Yeah.
100%. I think men nowadays think that women want the most buff and the most strong and the most traditionally like masculine kind of men, but really nowadays you can tell by who celebrities are going for. People like men with character. People like men who can be vulnerable, who can do stupid and silly things on national television, and it's attractive. Confidence is attractive, and the people that are dating these men prove it.
I think another thing that really touches on is the real side of it, because not a lot of celebrities want to show that anymore. They have the thing where they kind of want to put on a face for the press, but them, they're just real people. That's what I think, at least.
Yeah, and another person who saw that is Kim Kardashian, who was Pete Davidson's ex, and now Kim Kardashian is apparently hanging out with Odell Beckham Jr.,
Yes.
which I think is another interesting take, because I know he was talking with Khloe Kardashian for a second there.
I guess it runs in the family.
Yeah, it's really interesting too because just over the summer there was all these rumors around Kim Kardashian and Tom Brady after that big white party over the summer, and now I guess they had the wrong
NFL.
NFL player. Honestly, yeah.
I like this couple. Honestly,
Me
I could
too.
see it working out 100%.
Yeah, I think Kim also touched about how she's still single. She's not really looking for a relationship, but that they're still in communication with each other. So that's really interesting to see because a lot of people speculate they're dating now that they're hanging out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of speculative. There's nothing entirely proven. There's no pictures of them together.
Right.
And I scoured the internet. There's nothing. But I think another really happy relationship though that's going on right now is Chris Evans and Alba Baptista, who just got married.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think they're so cute. They're really a cute couple.
I know
Agree.
that Chris Evans is such a family man. In all of his interviews, he talks about wanting a family, wanting to settle down. So I think I'm really happy for him.
Chris Evans to me is the epitome of a dad. He gives off the best energy. He's so kind, and every single one of his interviews, even on the red carpet or on late night shows, he's just so kind and outgoing to everyone. And to me, it comes off really genuine. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
I agree.
I wish them a long and happy marriage.
Definitely. A little
Yes.
jealous, but
Yeah. He's not single anymore. So.
Yeah, and there's been nothing controversial, but one couple who's only been seen in some kind of controversial light is Alex Earle and Braxton Berrios, who it seems from the beginning has always been involved in some sort of scandal. The one that is bigger is when Braxton Berrios broke up with his girlfriend of 2 years, Sophia Culpo. And then she posted something that alluded to Braxton cheating on her during the relationship. And of course, then he was hanging out with Alex, so all fingers were pointed at her.
Yes.
What do we
I think it's
about
also
this?
important to note that Alex is not really, she claims she's not the type of person to cheat or allegedly do anything to damage her relationship. So I think it's also due to the fact that her family had problems with affairs. I don't know if anyone wants to touch on that.
I know in the new podcast that came out last week when she was talking about with Alex Cooper, she did talk about a lot of her home life and how much that impacted her in general. And it was so interesting to find out that she went through so much trauma growing up, and we just had no idea. So obviously relationships are a sensitive subject for her, but at the same time, Alex Earle to me is the new it girl. She is TikTok famous, she's Instagram famous, she's now podcast famous. She's doing all the different social media platforms, and majority of our generation look up to her.
That's really true. I think she just has the status of being one of the most popular celebrities right at the moment, especially with the relationship that has been happening for a while now. So.
Another relationship that I think is based around people who have had a massive cultural impact on our generation is Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas, who have recently announced their divorce from each other.
This was something that really took me by surprise. I was a huge Jonas Brothers fan my whole entire life, and even recently this summer I was at their opening night of their tour, and that was August 18th, and Joe dedicated a song to Sophie. Wow. It was Hesitate off of their Happiness Begin album. She was in the stands with the rest of the family, and from the looks of it, they looked like they were a happy couple, and then come to find September 5th, we hear speculations that the two are getting a divorce, and I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised by this story.
Right. I think just to add on that, like, I think they had a really close relationship, especially after all the marriage and wedding pictures that we saw. And now they're fighting for their children's custody. I think now they have to leave their like babies in New York because they can't like move them anywhere. So I think that's very crazy because no one would have suspected this at all.
Yeah, and I just think it's what a way to close out a marriage is to be fighting over your kids.
Right.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that is all we have on recent celebrity relationships. Back to you, Jordan.
I can only imagine that being a celebrity can make dating a little difficult, which makes it exciting to see so many new couples forming. So it seems love is in the air. We'll be right back.
Five Nights at Freddy's, the long-awaited movie adaptation to the popular video game. I know I'm gonna be seeing.
Oh yeah.
I'm so excited.
That one's like hilarious for me.
Welcome back to Nittany Talk. Although it is officially fall, we have a deep dive into some of the hottest movies of the summer, and maybe take a look at what's coming soon to theaters near you. Over to you, Catherine.
Thanks, Jordan. I'm joined here today by Kate Howie, Jake Santora, and Neela Azami as we discuss the hottest movies from the summer, as well as what to expect to see next in theaters. So if we're going to talk about summer movies, we have to talk about Barbenheimer. So as a history major, I think Oppenheimer was one of the most historically accurate movies we've seen in theaters in a long time that wasn't a documentary, and I think that it was done so well. Neela, what was your opinions on Barbie, though?
I feel that Barbie, oh my God, the hype was unexplainable. Like, I cannot even begin with that. I do have to say, though, I watched it in theaters. I think it was worth the hype for sure. Great movie. However, my questions were kind of on who the target audience were, because I think the movie was shown to be kind of targeted towards children, but it wasn't really shown that way. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of like feminism, and I think it was obviously more geared towards like women, but I also think younger women that are growing up to be like adults, I think it was really good to talk about. I think they showed like the young girls at the lunch table talking about the Bratz versus Barbies, all that debacle. So I just think it could really be for anyone, but I think young females really.
Yeah, agreed.
I, for one, know there was some minor controversy whenever it came out because a lot of people were complaining that it kind of went too far across the limits in trying to appeal to a younger crowd because it had some humor in there that was, of course, a little touchy, but I think Greta Gerwig, the director of the film, did just a magnificent job of, trying to appeal to the masses and just getting across the message of Barbie to a wide majority of people.
I definitely agree, and I think if we're talking messages of movies, I think Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, they did a great job on Oppenheimer. I think Florence Pugh, like everyone who was involved with this movie, they told that story. And same goes for Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling for Barbie. A story was told and it appealed to so many people. That's why it was so hyped, because it genuinely hit everyone that it needed to hit.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. I think it was funny that both of those movies kind of came around the same time because they contrast each other so significantly. But both of them have such, I think, a large impact on the culture of, Barbie as a brand is so huge. And then Oppenheimer coming out, just the history behind it, the story behind it. I feel that both of these were definitely very eye-catching.
No, I definitely agree. Now, another movie that has come out as of recently is No Hard Feelings.
Right, yeah.
What's your opinions on that movie?
I saw No Hard Feelings a couple weeks after it came out, so I was a little late to the party, but I loved it. I think seeing Jennifer Lawrence in, her interviews, I think she's hilarious. So it was so refreshing to see her kind of come in touch with her comedic chops in a film, as well as Andrew Barth Feldman. I mean, his rendition of Maneater in that film was amazing, and it was so charming alongside, you know, the humor that was with it. I think it was an amazing story, and like you said earlier, it really, really, I think, is bringing back the rom-com.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Rom-coms are my favorite type of movies. That's why I loved Oppenheimer and Barbie, but No Hard Feelings was probably like a favorite for me because I love rom-coms. I thought Jennifer Lawrence was really funny. I've only really seen her in like The Hunger Games, which is a very serious role, so I thought it was so funny seeing her play that role in No Hard Feelings.
No, I think this was a great movie for Jennifer Lawrence. She is such a comedic person, and we don't get to see a lot of that from her on film. And then Andrew Barth Feldman, I don't know about y'all, but I'm a theater girl at heart. I know him from Broadway. He played Evan Hansen in Dear Evan Hansen, and he is a beautiful singer. I'm so thankful that he got to sing Maneater in the movie because he did such a phenomenal job.
Yeah. I feel that this movie, like, definitely just brought back the rom-com era. I think we had so many good rom-coms in the early 2000s, and for a while, rom-coms are my favorite movies. I have not found anything that I feel like hits the same as those early 2000 movies.
Absolutely.
So when I saw this, I was like, okay, wow, they did a great job. It was hilarious. I think it was like wonderful. But what do we think about the new movies coming up in October? Like,
So I'm a horror girl.
Yeah.
Y'all might be rom-com people. I'm a horror girl at heart. My favorite movie is Scream, which I love the Scream sequels as well. We aren't getting another Scream movie. Thank God, that there was too many. But we are getting another Saw movie coming out, and also another Exorcist movie, Exorcist Believer, which is now going to have two girls that have the demon. And I'm very excited to see what they do with this movie.
I, for one, know that I'm going to be seeing Saw X this weekend. I cannot believe it's the 10th installment in the franchise. And, you know, you have to keep in mind one of the most popular movies being adapted from a video game is coming out next month, too. Five Nights at Freddy's, the long-awaited movie adaptation to the popular video game. I know I'm going to be seeing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited.
that one's like hilarious for me because I used to play Five Nights at Freddy's. I like when all the hype was around it, and it was so fun. It just had like this whole thing going around. So now that there's going to be a movie on it, I cannot wait. Like, I'm so excited. I think it's perfect the time that it's coming on too. Like, around, it's going to get colder, it's fall, Halloween's right around the corner. I think this is going to be a really good one.
No, I agree. I also grew up with these video games. How about you, Kate?
Personally, you probably will not find me in the theaters because I am not a horror movie person at all, but I love the whole Halloween, fall vibes. Like, Halloween Town was always a classic for me growing up, so I stick to those kind of Halloween movies, not horror movies.
Yes. Well, with the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, the thing for me personally is not only did I grow up with these games, I still play these games, but Matthew Lillard, who was in Scream, is coming back to horror, so I think it's going to be fun. Well, that's all the time we had for the movies. I'm definitely going to be spending this fall in the theaters. Which movie did you prefer, Barbie or Oppenheimer? Let us know in the comments below. Back to you, Jordan.
We definitely had a summer full of great movies. Some people loved them, others not so much. It'll be interesting to see what movies top the box office next. We'll be right back.
Yeah, it's $16 and you can get 8 of these delicious chicken nuggets. 8 of them. And not only that, you get the bread.
Oh, you get the bread.
Extra cane sauce is only 35 cents. I am a big...
Welcome back to Nittany Talk. For our final segment, we're going to settle a long-standing debate that has taken State College by storm. Chick-fil-A or Cane's? We're sending it over to Ryan to hash out the details and decide which place has the superior fast food chicken.
Thanks, Jordan. I'm joined here today by Kate Howie, Mark Gebhardt, and Gigi Fuentes. In June of 2022, Happy Valley was introduced to the delicious hand-breaded chicken tenders and unapologetically delicious toasted bread of Raising Cane's. On the other end, North Atherton Street is home to the addicting waffle fries and impeccable crispy chicken sandwiches of Chick-fil-A. Okay, everybody, it's now time to answer Penn State's favorite unanswered question. Chick-fil-A or Raising Cane's? Let's do it.
So, in my opinion, Chick-fil-A is the winner between Raising Cane's and this meal right here. We have the waffle fries.
It's not much of a
we
meal,
have
Come on,
the,
look at it.
We have the mac and cheese. We have the chicken sandwiches. We have milkshakes. Raising Cane's, like, there's not much variety.
Right.
I mean, you gotta know.
I'm a
like,
man who
there's
loves a
not
good
much
deal, and I must say, this is much more bang for the buck than those two right there. I'm just saying. And especially, this bread is delicious. I would like you to try it, but it's all for me and my good friend over here. Not only that, we actually came prepared. We brought the special sauce. I don't see your special sauce. That's embarrassing. We also have fries. They're a little cold, but they're still delicious. And then, of course, we have some delicious hand-tossed, hand-breaded chicken.
First of all, Raising Cane's does not have waffle fries.
Yeah, the waffle fries are like a landmark. Like you have to have the waffle fries.
They're a staple of Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And what are the other variety of things you can get in Raising Cane?
My favorite, personally, is the Caniac. I'm a really big fan of the Caniac.
Love the Caniac.
Yeah, it's $16, and you can get 8 of these delicious chicken nuggets. 8 of them. And not only that, you get the bread.
Oh, you get the bread.
Extra cane sauce is only 35 cents. I am a big fan.
I am dying to eat it.
Should we give it a try?
I love it. Let's eat it. Let's indulge. We're going to split it in
We
half.
got to split this one evenly.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to watch. That wasn't very even. It's all right.
Me personally,
Okay. Do you want the bigger one? Because
I'll take the bigger
I'm
one.
on health kick. All right, let's go. All right,
We're
so
gonna open it up.
cane sauce. See, we actually came prepared, and we also messed up the studio as well. I'm very sorry to everyone who uses this studio. That's a lot. Sports night today. Sports night. They got to clean it up.
And by the way, cane sauce is much better.
Yep,
I'm just saying Chick-fil-A sauce is what makes it Chick-fil-A.
It's probably better to talk about Chick-fil-A sauce when you have it in front of you.
Yeah.
It's hard to say it right now.
They're working with a lot there.
Chick-fil-A sauce, you
dip in.
can
All right,
use with
we're
anything
gonna
they sell in
indulge.
stores, like everywhere. You see Chick-fil-A sauce everywhere.
Cheers.
I use it with my dinners, like
That's
not even
true.
Chick-fil-A.
We
Like
can
you can
see
use it with
jars of the Chick-fil-A sauce, like you
Take a
said,
dip.
in stores.
I'm
They're
not-
over here just eating. Maybe I should use
I'm not old enough to drink,
I'm just saying,
so we're going to
these
cheers
waffle
to
fries-
eating.
yeah.
Cheers. Come on. It's the die for over here. This is the greatest chicken you will ever
No,
eat
no,
in
I
your
don't
life.
think so.
Now,
no.
I just want to stress, in the script it says State College's favorite question, and I'd like to say that when it comes to saving money and having good chicken, all you have to do is walk downtown to get Raising Cane's instead of drive up North Acton. Who wants to go to Toff Trees? It's so far.
Yeah, so
I'm
far.
regurgitating
So
some Toff Trees. I have
inconvenient.
food in
It's
my
the
mouth.
worst.
Well, first of all, I've never heard of Raising Cane's before coming here
I'm
to
sorry
State
to hear that.
College.
Me too.
So,
Do you live under a rock?
Chick-fil-A, well, Raising Cane's, I feel like it's not as popular as Chick-fil-A because I knew about Chick-fil-A. I was like, what's Raising Cane's? I only had it once. Pretty good.
No, I can't
Does
hear you. I'm
not-
too busy
does
eating
not
over there.
overtop
She
Chick-fil-A.
said pretty good.
No, I mean, it's
It's
the
not,
greatest
it's
thing ever.
pretty good. It's
Just look
not
at the
as great
bread.
as this.
Look at the bread.
Can I ask
Come
you-
on. It's so
It looks
fluffy.
kind of dry right now.
We have
to
a
say.
try
it? Try it?
Maybe
I
kind of
know
cold.
you're
I think it's kind of cold.
I know you wanna
maybe
try it
not.
over here.
Maybe not as good.
Why are you
I don't
not
know.
downing those fries? I'm eating this so
Yeah, there's a
quickly.
reason we're eating so much
Can
and
you
you
see
aren't
your
because
fries?
you saw
They're
it and you
kinda-
ate it. and you're-
They are kind of pale and
They're at your
soggy.
disposal.
They look. If you hold one up right now, they look kind of soggy.
No?
What
Look
about
at
yours?
look how flimsy that is.
This is one hell of a fry.
I don't know. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
okay.
Well, she's busy
I must say-
enjoying it. She's busy
I must
enjoying
say, although it's Popeyes, people say that the Popeyes crispy
know.
chicken sandwich is better than the Chick-fil-A one. That's embarrassing because this isn't even an
Well,
argument.
speaking
I
of
don't know
chicken
about-
sandwiches, the first thing I noticed when I went to Raising Cane's for the first time
Just
was
how
like
the
the
disco ball?
lack of chicken sandwiches on the menu. On Chick-fil-A, they have
What are you talking about?
they don't have
I
like
mean, is
other
that even-
varieties of chicken sandwiches
You can
at
make it
Raising
right.
Cane's. And
yeah.
you could have grilled chicken sandwich. They also have breakfast at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, no. No.
You can have it on like a biscuit.
No. No.
We need to talk about a healthy diet if you eat breakfast at Chick-fil-A.
Anytime I order Chick-fil-A, I get a sandwich. I see it on the menu. I'm so excited. I'm like, oh, it looks so good. I get it. Looks like it's going There's
It's starting to fly.
There's that. Right. I get the sandwich, and it looks like it got stomped on 54 times. You know what I mean?
Mind if I double dip?
Yeah, go for it. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
I'm
It's
just
the
saying,
best.
the drinks in Chick-fil-A are top tier.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think.
I hate to break it to you guys, but I've not seen any evidence that Chick-fil-A is better than Raising Cane's.
Oh my God,
We
so
do.
good.
$16 for
Oh.
a Caniac. What do you guys have?
Dying over here. You know what I mean?
We also have just more variety of food. We have mac and
With
cheese. Have you ever
breads.
tried the mac and cheese from Chick-fil-A?
Yes, I have. They're
It's
delicious,
so
but I can
good.
guarantee you
Really
there's
good.
better places to get mac and cheese.
Yeah, but you
than
can't get
Chick-fil-A.
mac and cheese on the
I
Raising
was
Cane's
wondering about
menu,
that.
so that's the biggest
But I
difference
don't
is the
understand why
menu
you would.
selection.
Let me tell you something. Now, I'm not a marketing major, but I can figure out that they're doing a very good job marketing their chicken in Raising Cane's. So I
Exactly.
don't know why you're talking about mac and cheese.
Look at him.
This isn't Mars. This is
You
Earth.
guys can't even spell it right on the.
Well,
thing
you
there.
have more variety. Mac and cheese you can put. I know some people who put it in their sandwiches. I personally never tasted it, but I think it kind of tastes.
Is there a reason why you didn't taste it?
Well, I like to eat it separately, in my opinion, but I eat like the whole jar of mac and cheese. I would get it, and I don't know what Raising Cane's has, but we have milkshakes in Chick-fil-A too. I don't know what Raising Cane's has.
When you don't know, just resort back to the can. What are you doing? I want some of
Oh,
that.
it's so good. It's
All
so
right.
good.
Keep chugging it.
I don't know about you guys.
Let's
man,
go
but-
back to
I
the
was
bread.
just
Oh.
You have mac and
Oh my
cheese,
God.
which my mommy can make.
Yeah.
We have delicious bread.
You will never find bread in
Delicious
your
bread.
life. Then I
I
can't.
love
It
bread.
is the greatest bread.
It is. It's
Ever. You don't need
So-
butter. You don't need anything. You just eat it and
You go
indulge.
to
You're
a,
like,
a chicken place for the
To die
bread.
for.
You go
Yep.
to Chick-Fil-A for the chicken. I don't know why you're going to Raising Cane's just for the bread.
Because it comes on the side. I
Yeah.
mean, no duh.
I mean, so you get a whole meal, just eat the bread.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
I
it is.
don't know
Speaking
about
of
that.
going to a chicken place,
And the chicken. I
They
mean, we're just
have-
talking about how good it was.
you don't have two different kinds of chicken. We have grilled chicken, which the grilled chicken is
Oh, it's
really
so-
good.
Which,
so
by
if
the
you
way-
want to be like healthier, you can go and you can get a grilled chicken sandwich
More options.
instead of
Has anyone
just
ever
getting
done that?
Statistics have shown that the grilled chicken at Chick-fil-A is worse for you than the hand-tossed fried chicken.
Right.
Well,
Look it up.
I think we settled on our opinions though. I will stand by Chick-fil-A,
And you stand alone.
Yeah.
and I have
Come here,
her
Kate.
as my moral support. So
We have some Raising Cane's left.
Yeah. You want some? You want some over here? I
I'm
mean, you
good.
guys are.
I'm sorry we
good.
didn't save you any
I-
bread. We downed
Sorry.
that thing quickly.
I already ate my stuff at Chick-fil-A. It's good.
Have you tried this over here?
You know, I told the crew it was going to be a mess. I did not mean it was this much of a mess. Delicious. All right, well, anyway, as I was saying, what I love the most about Raising Cane's is not only the Caniac, but, I mean, Chick-fil-A also has good ice, but the ice at Cane's is so good. I know Chick-fil-A also has ice, but the ice at Cane's is so much better because it's just a walk away.
When we're talking about ice, like, do you mean just like water, frozen water, can be better than another type
I mean,
of
the
frozen
talking
water?
about the other
The
ice.
shape is factored into it, too. You know?
Does it?
Yeah.
The shape,
The shape, man.
and that factors into the taste of it.
Oh,
We don't
it's
use the traditional cube.
spectacular.
Yeah.
No, they're like little pebbles of just greatness in
Okay,
there.
but
Couldn't have
ice
said it
is
better
just
myself.
frozen water, so like you can get,
I know what ice is.
you can get that everywhere.
No, oh, not this type of ice.
All right.
So
Well,
thanks for.
as you all could have guessed, there is no evidence or statistics letting State College know which place to choose. Well, actually, there are some statistics, but that's all that we have for tonight. Now back to you, Jordan.
Well, that's all we have for this week's episode. We talked politics, movies, celeb couples, and talked chicken. Thank you for joining us. For Nittany Talk, I'm Jordan Spagnoli, and we hope to see you next week.